The two best players in the league for my money are playing in this game tomorrow, and that's Salah and Bernardo Silva. And they're both. I would say you'd refer to them both as underrated.
It's Haaland versus Salah in a Black Friday deal. Welcome to the Football Ramble preview show. It's Friday the 24th of November. I'm Pete Donaldson.
I'm Andy Russell.
I'm Jim Campbell.
And I'm Vidushan Huntaraja.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I know that was yesterday. Is there a day after Thanksgiving? I'm going to point my attention to you, Vish. You probably experienced a few.
I'm actually celebrating my Thanksgiving tomorrow. I eat so much food. But you kind of touched on it. It is Black Friday. It's just going, queuing up outside a shop and then fighting the staff.
Spots, picking up a big 55-inch telly and punching people.
Are you guys thinking of The Purge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We always do. We do that a lot on the show, don't we?
Yeah.
We can choose everything with The Purge.
Is it The Purge? Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever attempted Senator Tim Kaine's creamed onions that he posted on Twitter? I don't know whether creamed onions is a thing.
I've seen people saying it's a British thing, which I can confirm it is not.
Why do we always get lumped with that kind of stuff?
Can I just
because
underline?
of the things we've done culinary.
True.
It could be worse.
The onions were not sliced.
Yeah,
just
Were
thrown
they?
in.
They were just like they look like raw onions in a load of cream.
Yeah. In what looked like it was like a sort of kidney-shaped dish as well, which added to the horror.
It looked very 1970s. I'm surprised some kind of a meat jelly wasn't involved. Kind of like
That's a good shout. Yeah.
Carnation milk on onions.
Raw boiled egg in
Disgusting.
there. Raw boiled egg? Boiled egg. Or a raw egg.
Can you raw boil an egg?
No.
Raw dog an egg. The Premier League is back, gentlemen, and what are we looking forward to this weekend? We'll kick off with you, Andy.
I'm looking forward to seeing what sort of Vettel Joe Linton will be in for Newcastle versus Chelsea.
Yes.
Because after his tour de force in the Brazil-Argentina game, where he comes on as sub, does his normal 5 fouls or whatever, gets sent off. I imagine he'll just like run on the pitch, probably still in his Brazil kit. Right? Like, what's going on? I haven't been to bed.
I'm still pumped. I
just can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's
Man of the match performance incoming.
It's a classic 3 o'clock kickoff as well. I think that's going to be a bit of a barn burner at 3 p.m. So I look forward to not watching that. Vish.
I'm looking forward to the first game of the weekend, Man City Liverpool, not because it's going to be a good game, but because I'm pretty sure that there is going to be a plane flying overhead with a message from Everton fans. And I quite like I think a lot of thought has gone into it, and I think that's quite smart.
When
I think
you
they're doing
say
it for max exposure, but also like Man City. Ooh.
When you say
max exposure sounds like the pilot.
When you say a lot of thought has gone into it, you mean they've sat around and gone, we could spend this money on helping the disadvantaged in our community, but we're going to spend it on a fucking plane.
The food
having
bank's
raised all this money between
maybe,
us, yeah.
but you don't know that they might take the plane back and be like, look here, here's a plane for you.
Yeah, throw some canned goods out.
Yeah.
Some creamed onions.
Have a
fortunate.
Have a little walk around the plane. Yeah. I suppose it's not Boeing, is it? It's just it's just flying a flag.
It wouldn't take very long to walk around a
that's
biplane
true.
effectively from the Second World War. Jim.
Howard Webb this week has
just full stop.
Yeah,
just what Howard Webb's up to.
No, not quite, but he's instructed referees to step in on soft penalties, essentially.
Right.
So I am looking forward
soft, hard-boiled penalties.
A player getting their head kicked clean off of their shoulders and nothing being given. Just we'll hear the footage later. It'll be like, a Hadouken was used, but, but it was reasonable force. Yeah. Good process.
He climbed on him, and electricity came out of his skin and turned the man to a little skeleton. And
not a pen for me.
Not a pen. Well, the early kickoff on Saturday will be Manchester City versus Liverpool. First in the league faces second. A celebration of the curtain raiser of a Premier League weekend. Did you see Jurgen Klopp putting a Sky reporter in a headlock at the training ground, saying thanks for the 12:30? He hates 12:30. He's done
really
that
does.
block.
It's one of those things where I'm just having a bit of a joke, but I'm not joking really.
Yeah.
It's very passive aggressive, and what I like about it is the reporter goes on to say the sentence that he's clearly been practicing 7 or 8 times in the car. Actually, Jurgen, I was watching the under-21s, and Jurgen Klopp gives him the look as if to sort of go, this scene is done.
Yeah.
The cameras have seen what I've done. Get out of my face.
Got your content.
Adieu. Get out. I just think I don't like to see a tall man abuse a smaller man because I've been
right,
on the
of course.
receiving end of, those,
Yeah.
of
Oh,
that
'cause you'd
physicality
be-
so many times.
You'd be right in the armpit.
I
wouldn't
would.
you?
It would
Your
be right.
face would be in the
I
armpit.
bet Klopp's
there.
armpit smells all right, though. No.
Yeah, it's probably quite nice, but it's still even a nice smelling armpit is an armpit, isn't it?
Oh, someone's not into armpits. Pathetic.
Is this the bit where you're trying to like put out a cry for help? Like Luke gets me in a headlock.
It's the Luke
in
and
every
Pete
Luke
Shaw
and
training
Pete.
regime. He just gets me in his big shacket and forces
Loves a
me.
shacket, doesn't he?
He loves a shacket.
Yeah.
He loves talking about shackets. The shacket culture is very much something he's very, very into. Last time out in April, Manchester City did beat Liverpool 4-1. Very different situation, Andy, right now. Very different
Yes,
situation.
fair to say. And I know fans hate to hear for the good of the league and for the balance of the league and for the league title and all the rest of it. I mean, this needs not to be a City win, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For the good of everyone. Now I know
It's a
City
very quick yes, Jim.
Right in
I know
there.
City aren't streaking away or anything yet, but City winning this would give that feeling of here we go again. Because it's always been this season really about how many points can the other teams squirrel away in advance of City before they really kick into gear like post Christmas. Especially when realistically you look at their squad and it's a bit better than last season. And also, even if it's impossible for them really to reproduce, think of their absolute top performance in the semi-final second leg against Real Madrid last season. Even if it's impossible to reproduce that, because quite honestly, that is the best football I've ever seen in the flesh. They've hinted at that a few times this season. So I don't think they've played brilliantly this season. They've not been uber consistent, but they're a lot better than they were in the first half of last season, and that's worth remembering. I think the bar is higher for them this year, and that's why. Obviously, Liverpool have improved a lot as well, and that's why. Yeah, without getting too sort of sanctimonious about it, the league needs Liverpool to do something.
Yeah. I mean, City have lost twice already, and obviously Liverpool are only a point behind them and very much in a title race. If you would, project one from here at this point, but
yeah, for sure.
I think the point still stands that is what we want, isn't it? We want a race. So
it's not actually about the points. It's about I'm going back to your Howard Webb thing. It's about the feeling.
Yeah,
isn't it? The feeling of what works for us as a football culture.
But is there a technique or a tactic that works against Manchester City other than I just hope they play like they did against Wolves? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Get Rodri sent off.
Get Rodri sent off.
But like Salah against Guardiola's quite an interesting little matchup.
yeah.
Like he's obviously the City with their 4 centre backs, and obviously John Stones is out for this, I think, as well. So there's a bit less control there. But if you think with their 4 centre backs, Salah's got a good opportunity there to really twist someone who's played very well this season, but I suppose he's not really been tested going the other way, like running back towards his own goal.
You're right.
Being twisted one way or the other. Also, just because like the way City's backline has been framed as basically 4 big blokes. All I'm picturing is Darwin Núñez bouncing off them like pinball, just like rattling through them, and basically just trying to find like an opening, not
1,
through
2, 3,
any
4,
cunning.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I'm quite looking forward to how Núñez approaches this, because like if you think of what the kind of player that would really cut through them. I know I mentioned Salah, but like you think of someone like Suarez as well. Suarez would be like ideal for like prodding at a gap, trying to find an opening. And Núñez is a bit more, I suppose, in more ways than one.
Chaotic.
He's a bit, chaotic, but also quite blunt as well. He's a very blunt striker, which is why he's quite enjoyable because he's so direct. But I think this would be a nice little challenge for him. I'm not entirely sure how many minutes he's actually going to get, but even if he comes on in the second half, I think it would be quite cool.
We've seen enough from him this season that he can bring it in any game. I still think he'll end up, and I know I've got a certain figure to hit. Otherwise, Marcus wins a 20p off me or something.
It's the
like
face
that.
I can't stand he does when he does it.
Exactly.
It's the face I can't stand. Even he could get like within a hair's, but he could have had 3 goals disallowed in the last game to not make your target, and Marcus would still have that little grin, that S-eating G.
I think Darwin will get there, and this game is really set for him to have a go. But what Vish was saying before, because it's a little bit like Harry Kane ended up with 30 goals last season, isn't it? Salah is so consistently incredible that he ultimately ends up being underrated in the weirdest way. This could easily be his game.
Well, there's the 2 best players in the league, for my money, are playing in this game tomorrow, and that's Salah and Bernardo Silva. And And they're both. I would say you'd refer to them both as underrated top tier. Players.
I think there's a sense with a player like that, or players like those two individuals, that I guess Haaland has this a bit as well. And there were even points where Ronaldo had this at Man United. It looks like the game is easier for them, so the praise comes a bit harder.
Yeah.
Which is obviously not the case.
It's like they don't
just make it look easy.
Yeah,
You
they don't
expect the
perspire, so it's like,
extraordinary.
he's not really putting in any effort, is he? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you set your own levels, I suppose, as we do on the Ramble, one would say, and it's deliciously low. Speaking of Darwin Núñez, Luis Suarez called him one of the best number 9s in the world during the international break. Núñez said he's trying to follow in the footsteps of Suarez. Just give him the 7-game ban for racism now. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way.
What I particularly enjoyed.
Oh, do I have to do that, Louis? Yeah, well, look, it worked for me. It worked for me. Don't worry, everyone wear
jumpers out.
How are those teeth? You want to sharpen those?
Following the teeth steps.
Don't worry, everyone will wear t-shirts the next week. It'll
Yeah.
be fine.
What I particularly enjoyed about this is because Suarez came out with this very reasonable quote, one of the best number 9s in the world, got quickly truncated to the best number 9 in the world.
Yeah.
Suarez is out of his mind. He said he's the best number 9 in the world of all time.
Yeah.
And actually what he said is pretty reasonable, isn't it?
You journalists have got a lot to answer for, Andy.
Yeah, Andy. What have you been playing
Can't
at?
trust you.
Well, on the,
Classic MSM.
on the other side, Man City's number 9, Erling Haaland, is apparently he's unhappy with the quality of fish in Manchester.
Yeah.
Which is a sentence that sounds like it straight out of like a Tricolor book or something. It just doesn't seem right. But apparently he's been organising a special shipment of salmon from Norway because he's just been unhappy with the standard of fish. I mean,
Terrifying thought.
It's like Ian Rush and the baked beans when he was at Juventus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
oh, what he got a lot of baked beans sent over from Liverpool. Liverpool baked
An
beans.
unspecified UK
Unspecified
location.
UK location.
Do we not in the UK? Do we not get our salmon from Norway, or is it from Scotland?
I imagine.
Bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that Norway keeps the best salmon, though, right?
Yeah. Oh,
What do you
okay.
reckon?
Oh.
What did they pull a net in over their side of the shipping? You shipping lines, the fishing lines, the fishing waters, our waters, Jim.
I don't know, mate.
Yeah.
So this is presumably coming over on some sort of terrifying Norwegian long plane. the idea of him demanding this shipment of special superfish to make him even more
Special
efficient.
Do you think it's just drifting unmanned, on fire, on its way to Erling Haaland?
He's got. I think that man has such mystical powers. He could just sort of he stand at the stand in Liverpool dock and just sort of bring the salmon
it in.
towards him, will the
Yeah.
salmon in towards him.
You can be like Aquaman.
Yeah, like Aquaman.
I quite like that.
There
I
wasn't
think he's got Aquaman vibes.
Definitely. There was an amazing quote in the article I read about this that said, he regularly downs a magic potion of cow's milk smoothies laced with spinach and kale and enjoys feasting on cow hearts and liver. It's like, this is exactly...
It's like
this
Liver
is the
King.
sort of thing you joke about him doing, and he actually does do it.
Yeah, but so he drinks smoothies.
Yeah, I mean that just sounds like a
Fine.
milkshake
That
to
bit's
me.
fine.
That's
Yeah.
a milkshake.
And he's eaten at St John's restaurant.
Yeah.
Nose to tail dining. Come on,
Those are very active verbs. In
Yeah.
that
Well
sentence.
done, Erling. You're middle class, mate.
Nesquik and haggis, well done. I had a roll mop in Oslo on stage in the Football Ramble Live,
Yeah, you
remember?
did, yeah.
I think I was waxing lyrical about how I've never tried a roll mop, and then a Norwegian man turned up
had
with
one.
Just gave me a big jar of them. My hands stank of vinegar all night, and I liked
That
it.
might be quite... Because
When we hit the
apparently
club.
Erling Haaland farts, doesn't he? When
What?
going up for corners and things.
Oh, does he? Right.
To put off defenders and
Is
stuff.
that true?
So apparently, I mean, I
Are you
haven't...
suggesting he can fart at will?
Kid in
he's-
my school could, Nathan Colton. He used to
Really?
suck the air in, lie on the floor, and then let him rip.
That's come back to bite him now, isn't it? Being so proud of that.
I've lost touch with him.
And this is how he launched his media career.
Is he farts at corners?
Supposedly, I remember reading an article about that, and it was a sort of puff piece thing.
Extra
so
height?
I can't
A puff piece?
confirm or deny it.
Yeah.
But it was very much a puff piece. So if
On
he
whose
would probably,
PR?
he would probably
Not
have
on his
hands
PR,
that smell of
presumably.
roll mops, is what I'm saying.
Tell
as
him
a
about my
tactic.
farting at the. Tell him about my disgusting life.
He in every sense, from the way he looks to the way he plays to that, he's designed by a room full of children. Wasn't he?
Yeah.
The
be
biggest man in the world.
massive.
He hits the
Marginal
ball
gains,
hard
mate.
and he farts whenever he wants. Yeah.
Give him a cape for crying out loud. Elsewhere. Square on Saturday at 5:30. Brentford versus Arsenal. It's a London Overground Suburban Rail Network derby. It's what's that? Gunnersbury to Highbury and Islington.
I couldn't tell you.
They're going to be renaming the Overground, bit London centric, but fuck you, it's best to, you know. They're going to be renaming the Overground. They're going to give them different names, like Northern Line, Central Line. They're going to give them to make it more confusing for tourists. Yeah.
So on that,
good. Brentford Arsenal, you fancy it?
Yeah, it's there's a lot of narrative here because David Raya isn't eligible because of Premier League rules about clubs or players playing for the clubs are on loan against their parent clubs. You can do it. Aaron Ramsdale is obviously going to start. This happened in the Carabao Cup already. Brentford fans were chanting, "You're just a shit David Raya," which is kind of funny at the time, but obviously as time's gone on, that might affect him a little bit more, or certainly wind up his dad. We know that. So all the focus is going to be there, isn't it? And I think that in the game against Brentford, he was excellent. I've not really seen anything from Ramsdale to suggest on the pitch that he won't give his all. But
he didn't give his all.
I'm fed up with this. Fine.
Eating a raw
Pick him when you can.
Have you seen that Ramsdale's dad has been back on the podcasts, Jim?
I haven't seen
rather
that.
Unhelpfully, is a clip.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. You don't shut up for a second, all right?
That's a shame.
He's got to stop doing this.
Got to stop doing this.
You can't go on a podcast and tell people to shut up.
That was Christian Bale on Terminator Salvation set. Very upset with the
Oh,
lighting
yeah.
manager.
Yeah.
That was when he was like, he keeps calling him amateur. He said, "My God, you're amateur." Yeah.
In an American accent.
Yeah.
It's good to see. But Jesus, Martin, Odegaard and Martinelli, the House Martins are back in contention. Injury-wise, things are starting to look a little bit better. Would you be risking Jesus' British Airways long-haul flight to Rio and back?
I wonder if he will start on the bench. I think he probably will. Everyone thought he was injured. Brazil were like, "We don't believe you," and then they called him up anyway, and then they were right.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see Jesus play. I think he's only started one game in the Premier League as a striker. This season. This season.
What a gamble to get him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Indeed. So it'd be nice to see him back. He makes the front three so much more fluent, and Martin Odegaard potentially being back is massive as well, because it just feels like it's been ages since there's been a bit of Barclays, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to kind of forget what the team are like. They're going to have to get to know each other again. It's going to be like the start of a new school year.
Why does it feel like it's such
Everyone looks a bit different.
I mean, I guess because, like, certainly my side I've been watching a lot. We're just playing players I've not seen a lot of. It just seems like the Premier League's just gone off the rails a little bit. Everyone's just playing like fringe players, under 21s and stuff.
This is the point to make it sensible again, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah.
If they've got Ramsdale in goal, Havertz at left back, everything's
Yeah.
Let's make it
some
sensible.
control.
Yeah.
There is a weird, like, I think you touched on it there. Like, there is a weird, not personnel shortage, but like I feel like a lot of teams are dealing with that balancing act of not even just competing on a few fronts, but injuries and suspensions and stuff like that.
It's a brain drain, but it's a pain drain.
Yeah,
Everyone's
and
in pain.
and invariably it might be quite funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Because so this would be, if Odegaard starts, this would be his second game that he's played. Only the second game he's played this month.
Right.
And I was trying to think back, Jim, to like previous times he's been out of the team and come back in. Like, has he slipped in seamlessly? Like, I feel like because it doesn't stick in my mind that suggests to me that he'll be fine.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, one of the big kind of one of his big qualities is availability. To be fair,
Yeah,
So
right.
We don't see that often. So hopefully he can hit the ground running.
God, gets you excited, doesn't it, as a football fan? God, he's available. God, he's available.
Oh, he's so available.
So available.
They could, like, this, you said it is a difficult place to play, and Brentford have a good record, but I feel like, without, obviously, without Rico Henry generally, but like now Hickey as well. Like, they are the fullback areas are where they kind of like stretch everything and everyone works within that. But I don't know, like, because of those absences, it feels like they're not going to be the same prospect as they might usually be.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
Brentford have definitely done better than I expected they would without Ivan Toney this season.
yeah.
I think
He must be back soon. When's he back? Is it
January. Oh, he's training. He's training already, isn't he? But I mean,
Because he was banned from training as well, wasn't it? It was so petty.
That seems
absurd.
like, because you're still employed by the club.
Yeah,
Weird.
well, they've been quite good at, like, since the betting ban. They've been quite good with him. Like Thomas Frank said from the start, they're like, we shouldn't just isolate this guy. We should keep him involved. And then they've done that, which is fair enough. But I suppose, like in Buemo and Visa,
I'm available. Can't play. You can't play, Ivan.
Go sit in the hallway with Jaden. Yeah, like, I mean, those two have been just exceptional. Really, there was a great thing. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, X. A couple of weeks ago about
Don't play his game, Vish. When Mark is in the chair, he will insist on saying both X and Twitter.
Yeah.
On my watch, feel free to choose whatever.
On twitter.com,
/tweets.
There was this thing about, they were talking about Brian Mbeumo being underrated because he looks 30.
Right.
And I think he responded like, on some social media being like, brother, I'm 23 or something like that. But I think there's something to be said for that, because obviously everyone's looking for Tony for January, but like people got to be swirling around in Mbeumo trying to pick him up. He's exceptional.
I love the partnership he has with Johan Visser. It works really, really well, and I think I'm surprised people aren't talking about that a little bit more. And Mbeumo seems to be getting a lot of the credit, but the two of them are. It's a little bit old school. It's rare you see a sort of dynamic duo up front like that.
Old school, and at the same time, it feels like they always play quite far apart because they're always on. They're on, the wings.
Well, they're both terrorising essentially.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank celebrated his 5th anniversary at Brentford last month, which seems like that's kind of flown by. He said that he had a good glass of red and a bit of tapas, which is absolutely lovely.
Did he become a Yorkshireman in the end of the sentence?
Bloody bit of
good
tapas.
glass of red and a bit of tapas.
I've had ferret balls, and I'm trying to think what Yorkshire
Ferret
tapas
balls.
is. I don't know what Yorkshire tapas would look like, guys.
I had
tapas.
Yeah, just
Yorkshire tapas. Get involved, Jim. Come on. Something quintessentially Yorkshire.
Yorkshire pudding. It's in the name, isn't it?
Yeah, Yorkshire pudding.
Lovely bowl of Dale. I don't know.
Did you accompany it with a shot of Tetley's?
Some tea. Yeah.
I was at Yorkshire Cricket Ground during the summer covering a game, and a lot of the times they put on, various grounds you go to, they put on food, and often it's like whatever's famous in that particular area. And they had Yorkshire poutine.
Nice. Okay,
which was, I don't know what the Yorkshire components were beyond like a bit of beef in the poutine.
Wensleydale, is that a cheese?
Yeah, so that was it. It was the melted cheese was like local to the area and stuff like that. It was deliciously rancid. I felt awful afterwards, but it was nice. Yeah.
Tony, a bowl of rice.
Sure.
The weekend.
The most famous of Yorkshiremen.
Elsewhere, Spurs are hosting Aston Villa, looking to get back on the horse after losing the last two. It is important to arrest this slide, Andy, at this point in the season, I think.
Yeah, so we're saying with...
even though they have been unlucky.
Yeah, we're saying with City, Liverpool and with Spurs playing Villa, you absolutely have to win this weekend, Jim.
You simply have to. Please make this interesting.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? If you are or nominally in a title race, or you have pretensions about being in a title race, if you want to put it that way, you have to win every weekend. Every drop point is a disaster, which is
that's
exhausting.
why football has become. Maybe it's just like the nip and tuck culture of today. Everyone has to look perfect. You go you walk past like teenagers. There's no fat kids anymore. Everyone's in the gym. I want to go back to those days where you could lose about 10 matches a season and then be in contention. I don't want the Instagram filters to make everything look perfect all of the time. I want the spots. Where's the spotty kids who are overweight? That's what I want to know.
There are no fat kids anymore.
There's no fat kids anymore. I just want things to be like they were.
So, for example, Pete, you might want to be, let's say, 12 points clear at the top of the league.
Exactly.
Oh, this isn't done yet.
Exactly. That's
this
what I want.
Safe.
That was my teenage life. I went from 10 to 14 looking like Macaulay Culkin, then boof, bad skin, bad eyes, bad teeth. Nobody wants to talk to me. Brilliant. Job done.
Boys,
welcome to the 20s. Oh dear. Well, it's an important week or two for the sides at the top, as discussed. And you know what we're on top of, Jim Campbell?
Nope.
Advertising responsibilities is the answer. No.
But this is a question I think I asked last year that you might know the answer of, you might not. It's all about, why don't goalkeepers wear caps anymore? All goalies used to wear caps when it was sunny. And now we've got global warming, allegedly.
Holy. Oh, God.
Maybe just the stadiums have got higher so the sun doesn't get in your eyes. Yeah. No fat kids.
Is he saying the sun should be brighter?
the sun used to be brighter before global warming. I don't know. Welcome to the Football Ramble. Everton's first game since their 10-point deduction. Big news last week. It was last week or the week before, but Everton versus Manchester United will be taking place at 4:30 on the Sunday. Everton are 19th in the table on 4 points, and a win here could lift them out of the bottom three. The scene is so typically Everton.
How bad is it going to be, Vish? Exactly how bad is it going to be?
How bad is it going to be?
You could, as a Manchester United fan, you could look at genuinely every fixture on that list and be like, oh no.
Luke did like shout me down saying, well, Man United are the form team in the league. He's got to go, are they though?
Yeah.
Would you? I mean, on the sheet, yeah, but
it was something when people cotton onto that. I think it was on a Sunday that it happened.
Right.
Well, because Spurs lost to Wolves. Yeah. Whenever it did, but people tweeted that stat that United were the most informed team in the Premier League as a result of that result, and then it went viral. I would say something like that.
Dangerous.
But something like that, like your record over the last 5 games, if that goes viral, whether it's good or bad, it is a surprise. That's why it goes viral.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, exactly. Oh, God, I didn't know that. Yes, well, exactly, because it doesn't look like that.
No.
Because United aren't actually the form team.
You want somebody giving you a fact about your team, you want to go, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously.
Not,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, what?
If you look at it through the frame of this particular match, like one of the things that Everton haven't had beyond maybe like the last 2 months of the last 2 seasons is that togetherness. And that togetherness previously was like, you know what, fuck it, we've got to get out of this somehow.
Yeah.
Let's kind of rally around each other, and they got on away with it. This feels completely different because from the top down at the club, even if, Everton fans have long complained about the ownership and stuff like that, there is a kind of wholesale togetherness here and an anger, really, that, the atmosphere at Goodison Park is going to be something like we've never seen before.
And they're
it's
known
spicy at the best of times, isn't
they're
it?
known for pulling...
I think the timing is important, though, of the 10-point deduction, because if you imagine this 10 points had been taken off Everton like 2 games into the season, there would have been a sense of we're doomed.
Yes.
Whereas because they've played better in recent weeks, because there seemed like a plan, and because there's been a sense of there are definitely 4 or 5 teams in the league worse than us.
Yeah.
That I think there's a bit of belief there that there wasn't before. So at the moment that the verdict fell, I don't think Everton were going to feel downtrodden. They were going to feel this is not right, this is unjust. But it's the sort of spiky reaction that you want. I mean, I don't know anyone who thinks, despite this, and again, this is possibly due to the quality of some of the teams at the bottom of the league, that thinks they're in big trouble here. I think most people still expect them to get out of it.
Yeah.
And it's not very hard to imagine them having an absolutely huge reaction on and off the pitch.
And it's a sort of like, and having that manager in the dugout, you sort of think, well, look, if he'd been drafted in at this point to get them out of this situation, the job would have been way bigger. But at this point in the season, it's kind of all to play for, especially with the other the 3 that were kind of like pinned to the bottom of the table, which looks like that sort of thing might continue.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they've been in good form recently, haven't they? They're unbeaten in 3 in the league.
Not the form team, though.
They're not the form team. They play the form team, so this will be an absolute ding-dong, presumably.
One of the form teams, Pete.
Yeah,
that's what we're sticking to.
It's the form lads.
But the real test will be when they go through a bad run of form, which inevitably they will at some point. And like, if that's sort of the doom around this decision and the ramifications of the points, if that pressure is something that essentially affects them in a negative way, or if it is something that galvanizes them, that's the real test ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got quite an interesting set of fixtures going forward. Obviously, they're at home against United, and then between now and the second week of December, they're at home to Newcastle, at home to Chelsea. They play Forest away. Obviously, Forest very good at home. There's loads of
tough games in there.
Yeah, so with the home element, you're like, that kind of atmosphere is just going to keep rolling. But there are some tough games. They then go away.
Get at home, I think, in the injury crisis they're currently experiencing.
Yeah, I suppose, but I suppose that's 2 weeks' time now. So a couple of things might clear up, and then they go to Burnley. That should be all right, and then Spurs and Man City kind of close out the year. So there is an element of like you got to
win this one.
Yeah, but to a point, because what they'd be thinking is like, right, how long will it take us to make up those 10 points?
Yeah.
And they might not do it by the end of the year, but that in itself wouldn't be necessarily a crisis, as it were.
Well, Everton fans are planning to chant Premier League corrupt as fuck in the 10th minute. I would probably advise them to use a different word because fuck does have, in a Scouse accent, doesn't pass. It's not as clear as it could be. Choose a strongest word.
I think the message is quite clear, actually.
Do you reckon? You reckon? All right, fine.
So one of the things that's interesting about this is obviously the game's on TV and they want, we talked about the playing at the start. Like,
Yes.
they want maximum exposure, don't they? And obviously, because instead of just apologising for the language over TV, they'll probably just quieten down the crowd.
Yeah.
So they should really do it on 9 minutes rather than 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. But how do you keep that secret from... I mean, they shouldn't have announced it, but then I guess how do you get people to do
Vish
it?
shouldn't have announced it.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I mean,
They're going it. They're going it. They're going to do it at the start. They're going to do it when the little mascots come out.
Because it's quite a different. Like, I wonder if So one of the things that isn't really spoken about when it comes to the broadcasters is like they are in line with the Premier League in terms of selling the product. So they'll show a play in which has like so and so should be sacked, slagging off other teams, whatever. But when it comes to actually having a go at the league. In a certain way, which in this case is, the administrators and legislation. I wonder how much they will address it, or whether they'll just turn a blind eye, like won't point the cameras up or dial down the volume, that kind of stuff.
Well, the Premier League have pointed out that it was actually an independent regulatory commission that that imposed the deduction, and actually there's quite a lot of precedent of this happening in the Championship and sort of lower down the Football League for breaches of this sort of thing as well. So maybe they'll have another plane. That sets all that out. And like a sort of community note plane.
That'll be the Boeing.
Yeah, that would have to be a vote. Like the Premier League chasing their plane.
Yeah.
Right.
Squawking them.
Actually.
Good stuff. Well, I mean, they are going to turn down the sound apparently, so it doesn't break Ofcom rules. Ofcom rules. They're just toothless. Just do it. Just absolute narc.
Yeah.
The big news is that Harry Maguire's redemption is complete. The Ghanaian MP, Isaac Adongo, who mocked Maguire in Parliament last year, has now apologised to him in court, in session, and he's I mean, I guess that goes on whatever Ghana's Hansard is. Vice President basically said that Maguire is now okay after saying that he was the biggest threat at the centre of Manchester United's defence.
I'm just picturing Marcus's face.
Yeah.
It's that look that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He'd be wearing that look. If he was sat in the way you are now, he'd be grinning away.
Let's hear from Isaac Adongo for crying out loud. A section of Man United players reportedly believe that the team's poor start is down to Erik ten Hag's overworking the squad in pre-season. Presumably not even looking at the amount of fixtures that Manchester United have to play. Never mind the manager, mate.
It's interesting that it's been framed as Ten Hag doing that. I know they had, presumably had rigorous training sessions because of that, but the amount of pre-season games they played sort of all over the place is absolutely draining and exhausting, and not every team has to do that.
I guess a lot of other teams of size do that. A lot of other clubs of size do that. I mean, I do particularly like the point in the downfall of a manager / head coach where the senior group of players start leaking their theories on why it's going wrong.
Yeah.
None of which are, we are playing terribly at the moment.
Yeah.
We could be doing a bit more.
Yeah.
Who's the leak?
Maguire.
Well, it's generally
Imagine.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
inadvertently like an MP walking out with like a really important document but opened and faced.
Oh, do you reckon he left his WhatsApp on the
Quiet back
WhatsApps on the train or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah. But the leaks are generally like players through agents, really. Like agents talk a lot, and like Andy, you would have dealt with. They just tell you loads of different things, don't they? They kind of often agents would talk to other agents, so it wouldn't necessarily be the agent of an agent who has a representative at that club, but might know someone who does. Because like this stuff always gets out when it just needs to get out. It's not like it's never an accident. These kind of stories are never an accident, and as you said, it's when they kind of see which way the wind's turning, and like then they go that way. Because that. If United are in better form, that actually is a story. When someone profiles this game or whatever, that is actually a story of. But it's because we worked so hard on the training ground, and the messaging was so clear, and he was so fierce. But we understand why he did it, this, that, and the other.
The benefit will start to show.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like I'm not saying it. So it's broadly bullshit in terms of I'm not saying that this story is bullshit. I think it's entirely accurate, especially given the source of the news story. I just mean like the whole kind of the cycle, the circus as well is broadly bullshit. Yeah.
Well, former Everton and Man United man Wayne Rooney had a bit of a setback this week. Derby City Council unanimously voted against plans to honour him with the Freedom of Derby. Why was this nominated? Why was this? Can anyone?
They just wanted to. They all wanted to stand up and go.
They just want to
not in my city.
Very clear. Yeah. I mean, how does that? How do you get? Can you just nominate anyone to have the freedom of Derby?
Presumably, they want him to get the freedom of Birmingham first because he looks well set for that, doesn't he?
What do you get if you get the freedom of a city? Like,
I think it's an oversized key. You know, a bit like
can you do anything?
When you present a charity check or whatever, and it's one of them like sort of 10-foot long ones.
But like, what do you get to do?
I think it's like the cheat codes on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
So you just do what you like.
Right.
No consequences.
So you can like surf on a plane.
Do absolutely, exactly. Just a plane will appear out of thin air if you want.
Right, unlimited
fly
ammo.
around on it. Unlimited ammo.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah.
Invincibility for about 5 minutes.
I remember going to the museum in Serbia of Tito, the leader of Yugoslavia for a little bit of time, and the amount of keys he's got in his museum. Whenever a dignitary would turn up, they'd just give him a big key. And it was like...
Implies a lot of secret rooms, which is cool.
He's got about 50 keys. The one from California was like shaped like the cityscape. It was like beautiful. So as keys go, it's beautiful. What's your best key in your key ring, Jim? What's your favourite key?
Let's have a look.
I've got a long scooter key that's that makes my keys rather unwieldy. If I didn't have a scooter, my life would be improved. Yours is quite Spartan, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd probably say actually the key to this very studio.
Yeah, that's the most complicated.
You've got a key to a studio?
Yeah. You don't even have a fob, do you?
No.
It's outrageous.
Why can't we get
to get in the office, listeners, I have to wave through the window and then someone chucks me a key.
Look,
I feel like
Andy's the same. It's a security risks, both of you.
I'm doing a reverse walk of shame. It feels really undignified.
It's happened again.
But the same happens to me, Vish. And do you know why we get to catch the keys rather than have our own keys? It's because we're the two best slip fielders in the Ramble.
Exactly.
That's not why.
You could even be point.
But sometimes,
will someone get Vish and Andy a key, please?
No, I'll lose it. I'll definitely lose it.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, the Lard Army fights on. Barnsley have been kicked out of the FA Cup for fielding an ineligible player in their first round replay win at Horsham. They haven't named the player, but surely it's obvious, isn't it? To anyone who cares. A lot of people don't. Let's make that very clear. It's suspected to be Aidan Marsh, who was on loan at York City when the first tie took place and then was recalled and started in the replay 11 days later. It could have been better for Barnsley, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah, of course, they won that replay 3-0 as well, so frustrating, but,
The Lard Army fights on.
These things happen. And it's great news for Sutton, because, of course, Sutton now play Horsham instead of Barnsley now, so Sutton are looking at a third round tie.
Oh, I mean, but if you were a fan of Horsham and you're also a lawyer or very good at kind of like weeding these things out, I'd be straight into like Sutton United's books. Imagine if you could default like into the third round. How good would that be? And then get like Man City. Like, I know this. Here we go.
Well,
yeah, I don't think that's going to be what takes them down.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
It's Jack's Encyclopedia. The last time I looked after this match, was that last week? Our the torrent of manic stuff. Or was it? Yeah, I think it was. It was a mad one, was it?
Stadium Gate.
The Stadium Gate, I think it might have been.
Well, yeah, because week
before last, wasn't it?
We listened to that in the car, which was very amusing, me and my children. Now, occasionally... occasionally...
What have they learned?
They have a little go at Jack's Encyclopedia.
Yes.
And we had unwittingly played that round earlier in the holiday because they wanted to play it one night at dinner.
Right.
So we had done that, and obviously they were a lot better at it than everyone.
Someone.
So you've got the 12 and the 10-year-old going,
right.
Elland Road, just Elland Road.
I'm turning this car around. Has somebody given you access to the old Jack's Encyclopedia databases? So
I can't reveal my sources,
right, okay.
Pete. Come on.
Vish, I very much enjoyed, but while we were chatting about Andy's loud and frightening life in the car, you were squeezing your water bottle because it was making a little squeaky noise.
I was drinking out of it and then it started whistling.
Yeah, Vish is drinking out of the sort of bottle you see at a truck stop with tomato sauce in it. It's very enjoyable.
It really looks like it's a
It
big
really
bottle of
looks like
tomato
he's drinking
ketchup.
tomato sauce, which is a lot of
Never
fun.
authentic kinds.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Off-brand only. All in Polish. It's a simple game of categories. If you go too slow, I'll play Gary Neville's Orgasm, which will leave you 7 seconds. We'll kick things off with you, Andy, if that's all right. Players who have played for both Liverpool and Man City since 1990. So just players that have made an appearance for both clubs after 1990. Liverpool, Man City, they've both played for these teams since 1990. There are 19 players to choose from.
Oh, wow, shit.
James Milner.
James Milner, he's in there.
Daniel Sturridge.
Daniel Sturridge, he's in there as well.
Raheem Sterling.
Raheem Sterling, correct.
Scott Carson.
Scott Carson, he's in there. Moustached occasionally, unmoustached at other times.
Dean Smith also.
No.
I know it's exciting.
Got excited
Yeah.
about the moustache.
Didi Harmon.
Diddy Harmon, lovely.
Steve McManaman.
Steve McManaman.
That's a lovely shout.
Yes, I like it.
Robbie Fowler.
Robbie Fowler did do that.
Ah.
You guys are good at this one.
David James.
Yeah.
Kolo Touré.
Oh.
I like it.
That is excellent. He says, stalling for time.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
You're never getting it once the music's playing, are you?
No. Vish.
Nicholas Anelka.
Ooh, good.
Always go for an Elka in a quiz.
Yeah.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Oh, God, I've just thought of one. Just then.
Who is it?
Just after Is the round done?
The round is done.
Mario Balotelli. Just came to me just at the end.
That's a good
Just
one. Shit.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So annoying.
Well, you could have had Albert Riera. You could have had Craig Bellamy.
Oh, yeah.
The aforementioned Mario Balotelli. Mark Kennedy.
Yeah.
Nigel Clough. Paul Stewart. Steve McMahon. You had your Steve McManaman.
Yeah, so Steve McMahon evolves into Steve McManaman.
Yeah. And
Poker McMahon.
Peter Beardsley.
Ah.
God, Deep Mahaman must be fearing Secret Santa. Right, number 2. The 20 players who have made the most appearances for Jurgen Klopp throughout his career as manager. Vish, let's kick things off with you.
Salah.
Sadio Mane.
I'm only answering with players today who could fit in to the theme tune of Goldfinger, so I'm going to go Mats Hummels.
There's quite a few of them, to be fair.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
This is all clubs, yeah?
These are 20 players who've made the most appearances for Jurgen Klopp throughout his career as manager.
Jordan Henderson.
304.
Roberto Firmino.
Roberto Firmino. I'm gonna put him in at 355. Quite a few matches.
Roman Weidenfeller.
Oh, 279.
What a loser.
You leave Roman alone. Great stalling, by the way.
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
287. I like it.
Virgil van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk, 233 is in there. Only just.
Jakub Błaszczykowski.
Oh my God. Glad you said it.
You know they're not your real friends, yeah?
225.
I'm going to do one of yours. It's quite risky because I don't know what I'm talking about. Goetze.
Oh, Mario.
Probably quite late, wouldn't he?
Sorry, mate. It's not in there.
You're
out, Vish.
Am I going to be dragged down to Andy's level?
Do
Yeah,
it.
why not? Thomas
on.
Piszczek.
He's in there.
It's not Thomas Piszczek, it's Łukasz Piszczek.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, so it's wrong.
Oh, is he wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Sorry,
No,
I completely missed that. No, Thomas.
No,
Lucas.
wrong name.
Wrong name.
A different name.
You know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So
Have I got to get one
Yeah,
to
you've
win?
got to get
You
one.
gotta get one to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, but you can't pick a foreigner.
Marcel Schmelzer's my next door neighbour, actually.
Meltzer.
Well done, Andy. Well done, mate. You could have had Allison at 244 matches, Andrew Robertson 275, Dimo Vaca at 213, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Milner 323 matches, Joel Matip, Kevin Grosskreutz at 235. You could have had Subotic at 201, and that's your lot. We're moving on to the third round. Players who have scored 5 or more goals in the Premier League so far this season. Vish has a point, Andy has a point. Come on, Jim, take us to, I'm going to say, a bewildering tiebreak.
5 or more goals in the Premier League this season.
5 or more goals in the Premier League so far this season.
Okay, Erling Haaland.
A safe bet of 13. Andy.
Mo Salah.
Mo Salah at 10. Another safe bet.
Dominic Solanke.
6.
Wow.
Wow.
Eddie Nketiah.
Eddie Nketiah. Yes, he's got the 5 as well.
Heung-min Son.
Young Min Son 8.
Alvarez. Julian Alvarez. Bollocks.
Bollocks. Sorry, Vish, you're out for that one. Jim.
This is surprisingly hard. Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins. 6 goals.
That was literally going to be my one. Great work.
Couldn't have got on the end of that one at the middle, could you?
No.
Oh, I want Andy to lose, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
What do you say, Schmelzer?
Just in life.
It's been a
Callum Wilson.
7.
Callum Wilson with 7 goals. Well, I never. 5 or more goals in the Premier League. They say Saka. Bukayo Saka.
Bukayo Saka. He's near done that, Jim. He's near done that. He's washed. He's spent.
Yeah,
spent
finished player.
Finished
Not
player.
serious.
Finished player. Andy.
James Maddison. I don't think that's right, is it?
Oh dear, that was to win it. Jim, Andy, you're back in.
I stopped thinking about it. There's your first mistake.
I stopped thinking about it.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline
How many goals does Jim have, though?
Yeah,
Less
how
than
many
5?
goals do you have this
Fewer than
season?
5,
Jim?
right.
Yeah. Andy.
Leon Bailey.
Are we back in?
God. After the first incorrect answer, we only do 1 round, so we are moving to tie break. We need a tie break. Have we got anything? No, tie break. Tie break. I've lost. I pressed the button too many times and it's gone. Right, Andy, Vish, tiebreaker. English players who have won the Premier League. English players who have won the Premier League. There are 95 players, and I'm going to be very tight with my fingers. All right.
I was going to ask you if we wanted to go for a cup of tea afterwards, but I don't think there is an afterwards.
No, yeah. So I go. Andy
goes first.
James Milner.
Mm-hmm.
Every category.
David Beckham.
Paul Scholes.
Steve Bruce.
Gary Pallister.
Gary Pallister, correct.
Rio Ferdinand.
Andy Cole.
Teddy Sheringham, his best mate.
John Stones.
Got my finger firmly on the correct button on this one.
Gary Neville.
Phil Foden.
Phil Neville. This is ridiculous.
It's your own fault for the stadium round.
DJ Grillo.
DJ Grillo.
Not his name.
Not his
It's
name.
not his name.
We all know who he's talking about.
It is his name now, though.
You can't have Thomas, but you can have
No.
DJ.
No, I think you've got to disqualify over that.
Can we get a reading from the production staff?
You got to say the name. You got to disqualify him for that.
Does Ronaldinho count as an adopted name?
Ronaldinho.
He adopted. DJ Greelo adopted the term DJ Greelo.
It's not his name. You got to. Otherwise, we're going on forever. You got to disqualify him for that. I think you got disqualified for that.
I mean, Vish has been building up to this ever since he joined the Ramble. Let's give him it.
You have to disqualify him for that.
Oh my God!
Outrageous.
I haven't even said my guess yet.
Outrageous.
I haven't said my...
Abuse of the official.
Carl
Say the
Walker.
name, Carl
Carl
Walker.
Walker.
Yeah, go
Right.
fuck yourself, Vish. Well done for bringing Pugmall style disrepute
Unbelievable.
to what is quite a pure and fun game for a lot of people on a Friday. All right,
No.
some people live for
No.
this. Yeah, some people are going to be waiting for the keys to be jangled the weekend. This is part of their whole procedure of finishing a working week, listening to the Football Ramble on the commute home, and hearing you.
Oh,
This is descending into chaos, this game.
Marcus has a Friday off and we're all sitting around doing opium.
I would like to apologise for everyone who was playing along at home for absolutely fuck all.
You could have had. I'm not fucking
Get a life,
doing that.
get a
Jack's
life.
Encyclopedia is done for another week. Thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble preview show, part of the Aircast Creator Network. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Football Ramble. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app. And if you don't like the way Vish isn't getting involved with the spirit of Jack's Encyclopedia, do give him a tweet. For crying out loud.
Come at me.
Say goodbye, Andy.
This isn't over.
Say goodbye, Jim.
See ya.
Why
Goodbye.
can't I
And
say
it's
goodbye?
goodbye from me.
No, play my
you
song
don't
again.
say
Play my song again. That's the outro. Yeah.
Says goodbye. Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.